Relay sprinting is never just about speed. In this video, we explore two completely different outcomes: a chaotic senior final in London and a perfectly controlled junior performance by Jamaica at Carifta. One race shows how quickly things collapse. The other shows how dominance is built.
First bend, then Bianca Williams, fourth in the 100 on the second bend, and Shannon Hilton on the anchor leg. Estelle Raffaille will lead the French out. They go in sixth. Acampo, Gallet and Brossier, their quartet. Germany, usually very well drilled. Quaid on the opening leg for them. Then Burkhardt, Vesely and Montag. The Jamaicans, well, Shelley-Ann Fraser-Pryce will surely give them a fabulous lead here. She is a world champion, Olympic champion. Shericka Jackson on the second leg, Smith and Hickling their third and fourth leg runners. Then for the USA, Mikia Briscoe on the first leg will hand over to Aliyah Brown, Zira Bryant and Ashley Henderson, the winner of the 100 for them on the anchor. That is somebody to rely upon. Kamila Chiba on the opening leg for Poland, for Kaszovic, Kielbasinska and Swoboda, the fifth placer in the 100 on their final leg, the anchor leg. And China go on the inside, Liang, Bai, Gay and Yuan, their quartet. Again, the Chinese tend to punch above their weight with well-drilled squads in the relays. Be interesting to see how well they cope with that tight inside lane. But the Americans with Shelley-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Shericka Jackson on legs 1 and 2 could be several meters ahead at halfway. So much of it depends, of course, though, on baton speed, getting those changeovers right. Make sure they're safe, but make sure the baton speed is maintained as high as possible through each changeover. You don't want it to slow down as with faltering switches from one athlete to the other of that little metal tube. China, Poland, USA in 3, Jamaica in 4, Germany, France, Great Britain in 7, South Africa in 8.
The big guns, USA.
Well, watch Fraser-Pryce in lane 4 for Jamaica. Is she going to make up ground on the American, on the German outsider, Quaid? Yes, she has, I think. And the American is injured. The American is down. Goodness me. Mikia Briscoe is injured and has collapsed on the first bench. The Americans are out straight away. How ironic when they've already confirmed that they are the champions at this World Cup. Great Britain there, not a great changeover, but they are in the lead at the moment, going strongly around the outside, but the stagger run winds now with Germany chasing hard. The Jamaicans are coming in lane 4 there, in that yellow strip. Are they going to get in trouble? The Britain's a dreadful changeover from the Jamaicans there. China looking good on the inside, but Great Britain leading this one home. It's going to be a win for Great Britain. Shannon Hilton takes it with maximum points. The Jamaicans nearly getting there, about a metre down their last leg runner there, Tisana Hickling. But maximum points for Great Britain from lane 7. They will be totally unaware, I'm sure, of the demise of the Americans. Goodness me, how unfortunate for Mikia Briscoe. Clearly something wrong on that first leg. Could have been cramp, could have been a more serious injury, we don't know. But they never completed the race. But Great Britain, a bit of a shock, that one. Maximum points for the home squad, and the crowd absolutely loving that one, roaring them home as they just managed to stay ahead of Jamaica. Goodness me, it was eventually pretty close. 42.52 by Great Britain to 42.60 by Jamaica, with China battling for third.
Well, we never like seeing shots like that when an athlete's down. She tried so hard to continue the race and get the baton onto a teammate. But it was a wonderful race for the British team. Looking at the point situation, that's done a lot for the British team, that has. And Shannon Hilton managed to hold off the fast finishing Jamaicans. Shelley-Ann Fraser-Pryce, the new mummy, back in track and field this year, set off Jamaica well. The United States of America had the injury which scuppered their relay, but the British team, Asha Phillip, Bianca Williams, Imani Lansiko and Shannon Hilton, picking up good points in the final female track event of the evening.
It is indeed, as you say, Catherine, quite rightly. Yes, the last track action, and somewhat fittingly, to give us a little bit of Britishness for a moment. The British quartet winning in front of the home crowd, sending them home happy. in the field. But here is that changeover. The Jamaicans getting all so wrong there. Receiving it slowly and then changing hands. Isn't that one of the golden rules, Tony? You don't change hands in a relay with that baton. You receive it in one hand, you keep it in that hand.
You're quite right, Tim. You're quite right, Tim. You're learning a lot about relays. I'm well impressed by that.
But there are a few fundamentals, I think.
No, you're right. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. But you want the hand. You want it in your hand where it's comfortable. That's
Catherine, you know this stuff.
Well, Usain Bolt always did it. It's, as Tony said, it goes into the comfortable hand on the last leg. You take a risk, of course, because you might drop it. But, hey, listen.
I tell you what, if you're Usain Bolt and you're running 8 point for a rolling 100 metres, you can change hand to
The thing, I mean, you've got time to do a cup of tea.
The American suffering an injury in that women's 4x100 metre relay. But as Tim said, the trophy is going to the United States of America. But good points for Britain there. 42.52 seconds. They're going to rival for second place here, because look at Poland, 7th in 43.82.
Jamaica, fabulous there on that.
That pose. Under 20 girls 4x100 final.
So we actually lost 3 teams from the semi-finals. Guyana is not there, unfortunately. No Tiana Springer, no Narissa McPherson. They're going to be running the 4x4 mixed, hopefully a little bit later. We've got Antigua and Barbuda withdrawing as well, and Barbados.
So Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, British Virgin Islands, Grenada, Guadeloupe, and Martinique. The teams set to take part here. British Virgin Islands. Oh wow, they would love to have a Deja Hodge now. That's Amia Todman for the BVI. Here's the lineup from the inside. Grenada, Martinique, British Virgin Islands, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Guadeloupe, and Bahamas. 7 teams going in this final.
And Todman on that third leg with Soleil Frederick.
Trinidad and Tobago team. They have the Frederick sisters, one would suppose. They also have Symphony Patrick to choose from.
Khadija Pickering, I think, maybe leading off for them.
Jamaica being led off by Habiba Harris, the 12.95 sprint hurdler, takes the opening leg for the Jamaicans. They are expected to have a fine team. Tiana Lee Terrelong, Sabrina Dockery, Shania Douglas possibly in their lineup as well. Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe will be in lane number 6. They have...
You see on your screen there, will be leading off for Trinidad and Tobago. The Frederick twins will go second and third.
Set.
Cleanly away this time for the 4x100 final for under 20 girls. Trinidad and Tobago up well with Symphony Patrick. Abiba Harris runs a good first leg for the Jamaicans as well. The Jamaicans change safe and first. Tiana Lee Terrelong, the 100 silver medalist, goes flying by Frederick. Jamaica ahead of Trinidad and Tobago. Here's the change for the Jamaicans. Soleil Frederick on the third leg for Trinidad and Tobago, but it's Jamaica with the advantage. This is where the battle is expected to be. Here's the final change. Jamaica ahead of TNT. Down the home stretch they come. Trinidad and Tobago trying to close, but the Jamaicans pull away through Shanoya Douglas. 43-61. Another terrific performance by the black, green, and gold. That's three.
The women's 4x100 meters relay is often described as the purest test of collective sprinting. But what makes it truly fascinating is how differently that test can unfold depending on context. When we place the senior-level race in London alongside the under-20 final at the 2022 Carifta Games, we are not just comparing two competitions. We are examining two completely different philosophies of relay execution, two psychological environments, and two interpretations of pressure. In London, everything pointed toward a predictable hierarchy. The United States entered with overwhelming depth, Jamaica with proven championship pedigree, and Great Britain with a balanced but less individually dominant lineup. On paper, it looked like a race that would be decided by raw speed. But the reality of elite relays is that they are rarely decided on paper. The turning point came almost immediately. The injury to Micaiah Briscoe did more than eliminate the United States. It destabilized the entire race dynamic. Suddenly, the structure collapsed. Jamaica, now the clear favorite mid-race, faced a different kind of pressure. The expectation to control rather than chase. This shift is critical, because chasing allows for reactive running, while leading demands precision under scrutiny. Jamaica's execution, while strong, was not perfect. Their exchanges lacked the absolute sharpness needed to create decisive separation, especially in a race where the psychological weight had shifted onto their shoulders. This is where Great Britain's approach becomes central to the analysis. They were not the fastest team individually, but they were arguably the most stable unit technically and mentally. Each British exchange was clean, controlled, and almost conservative in its risk profile. There were no desperate reaches, no overextensions in the acceleration zones, just well-timed, practiced movements. In a chaotic race environment, this restraint became their greatest weapon. While others reacted to the unfolding drama, Great Britain remained within their system. The result was not just a victory, but a demonstration of how composure can outperform superior speed when the race becomes unstable. Now contrast this with the Carifta under-20 final, where instability never had a chance to emerge. From the first leg, Jamaica imposed structure on the race. The leadoff runner established rhythm, but it was the second leg, Tia Clayton, that transformed control into dominance. Her acceleration down the back straight did not just extend the lead, it psychologically closed the race for the competition. What stands out most in this junior performance is the uniformity of execution. Every exchange was not only clean but synchronized to near perfection. The outgoing runners trusted the incoming speed, committing fully to the exchange zones without hesitation. This level of trust is not accidental. It is the product of a development system that prioritizes relay discipline as much as individual sprinting ability. Unlike in London, where external events reshaped the race, the Carifta final was internally controlled by Jamaica from start to finish. Trinidad and Tobago performed admirably, maintaining structure and minimizing errors, but they were reacting to a race that had already been defined. Jamaica was not responding. They were dictating. The anchor leg by Shanoya Douglas further illustrates the difference between the two races. In London, the anchor leg was a battleground shaped by uncertainty, where positioning and late-race composure determined the outcome. In Carifta, the anchor leg was a formality executed at high speed. Douglas did not need to chase or defend aggressively. She simply maintained and extended an already decisive advantage. This brings us to the core contrast. The London race represents the volatility of elite sprinting, where even the most prepared teams can be undone by factors beyond their control. It highlights how quickly dominance can disappear and how victory often belongs to the team that best adapts to disruption. Great Britain did not win because they were the fastest. They won because they were the most resilient within chaos. The Carifta race, on the other hand, represents the ideal of relay sprinting as a controlled system. Jamaica's performance was not reactive, but pre-constructed. Every phase of the race, from drive phase to baton exchange to top-end speed, was executed according to a clear internal model. There was no visible adjustment because none was needed. Ultimately, these two races show that relay success exists on a spectrum between control and chaos. At the senior level, unpredictability is inevitable, and the ability to remain composed under shifting conditions becomes the defining factor. At the junior level, especially within a structured program like Jamaica's, success is built through repetition, synchronization, and technical certainty. One race teaches us how quickly everything can fall apart. The other shows how difficult it is to disrupt a system that has been perfected long before the gun goes off.